The thing beneath the church appeared again tonight. It keeps imitating children's voices. It cannot enter during prayer, so it waits until the church is empty. I never told anyone what I saw behind the baptism pool. This is the subscribers' true story time. People always say church is the safest place you can be. Maybe for some people that's true. But my father was a pastor, and I learned at a very young age there are things inside the church that simply don't belong there. I'm 29 now. I've never told anyone this story because I know how insane it sounds. Even typing it, my hands are shaking. This happened when I was 8 years old. My father preached at a small county church tucked away behind the line of pine trees. It wasn't a huge building, just white wooden walls, stained glass windows, creaky floors, and an old baptism pool behind the stage. The church was nearly 100 years old, and everybody loved talking about the history, but no one ever talks about what happens when everybody go home. My dad was always staying late on Saturdays to prepare for his sermon. Since my mom worked night shift, I usually tag along with him. I'll bring my coloring books while he practiced preaching from the pulpit. One Saturday evening, rain poured against the window so hard that you could barely hear anything else. The church felt different. Not scary, just quiet. My dad was in his office studying. I wandered into the sanctuary by myself. The lights weren't all on, only the one above the cross. Everything else was swallowed by the shadow. I remember hearing whispering, very soft. At first, I thought people had come into the church. I looked around, nobody. The whisper stopped, then started again, only this time they were coming from behind the stage, where the baptism pool was. I knew I wasn't supposed to be back there, but kids doesn't always make the smartest decisions. I walked up to the steps. Every step cracked louder than the last. The whisper became clearer. They sounded like several people talking at once, except I couldn't understand a single word they were saying. It wasn't anything I've ever heard before. I reached the curtain behind the pulpit. I noticed something strange. The baptism pool door was open. It was never open, ever. My dad kept it locked. I remember peeking around the corner. The room was dark except for one small light above the pool. That's when I saw it. Someone or something. It was standing inside the empty baptism pool. It was way too tall. Its head almost touches the ceiling. Its skin looked black. Not like a person's skin, more like burnt wood after fire. Its hands hung down almost to its knees. I couldn't see its face, just darkness. And then its head tilted slowly towards me. I'll never forget that movement. It wasn't natural. It tilted so far I thought its neck should have snapped. The whisper stopped instantly. Silent. Then I heard my own voice. Come here. I froze. The thing hadn't spoken. It was my voice, exactly like mine. Again, come here. I knew I wasn't talking. My mouth wasn't moving. Then it laughed, except it laughed using my laugh. I couldn't breathe. Every instant in me told me to run, but I couldn't move. It slowly climbed out the baptism pool. Not by stepping, it crawled. Its elbow bent backwards, its leg folded the wrong direction. Every movement made wet, crackling sounds. I finally screamed, Dad! The instant I screamed, everything stopped. The movement, the creature, gone. My dad burst through the curtain seconds later. He grabbed me. What happened? I pointed towards the pool. It was right there. He looked. Nothing. Just the empty room. He smiled nervously and said, You probably scared yourself. But then I noticed something. My dad wasn't looking at me anymore. He was staring into the baptism pool. His face turned completely pale. He slowly closed the door, locked it, then took my hands. We're leaving. He didn't even finish preparing his sermon. That never happened. In the truck, he was completely silent. Finally, I asked, Dad, did you see it too? He gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white. After what felt like forever, he quietly said, When you grow up, never go behind the curtains alone. That was it. He never explained. Years passed. I tried convincing myself that I imagined everything. Then my father passed away when I was 23. While helping my mom clean out his office, I found an old journal. Inside, one page had only 4 sentences. The thing beneath the church appeared again tonight. It keeps imitating children's voices. It cannot enter during prayer, but it waits until the church is empty. My stomach dropped. He knew. He had seen it, maybe many times. I asked my mom if she'd ever heard of anything about the church. She got quiet. She admitted something she's been hiding from me for my entire life. Years before father became the pastor, there was another pastor who suddenly resigned. No explanation, just left. The one before him also left unexpectedly. An elderly woman from the congregation supposedly warned my father, never stay after sunset if you're alone. He thought it was just small town superstitions until his first week there. Mom wouldn't tell me what happened. She said that Dad made her promise to never repeat it. A few months later, the church was demolished after foundation problem made the building unsafe. They built a brand new church in the same property. I refused to attend the opening service. Curiosity, of course, got the better of me, so a few weeks later, I drove there anyways. The old church was gone, only the new building remained. Everything looked peaceful, bright, modern, and safe. As I turned to leave, I noticed a little boy standing by the front door. He couldn't have been more than 7 years old. He was staring towards one side of the building, not moving. I walked over and asked if he was okay. Without looking at me, he quietly whispered, "Do you hear someone calling my name?" Every hair in the back of my body stood up because I heard it too. Very faint, coming from beneath the church. A child's voice, softly saying, "Come here." It sounded exactly like his. I got back in my car and drove away. I never returned. People say churches are protected places. I still believe that they can be. But old buildings hold memories. Some hold grief, some hold faith, and some, I believe, hold things that spent decades pretending to be something they are not. If you ever find yourself alone in a church after everyone has gone home and you hear someone calling your name, make sure you see their face before you answer. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Have you ever had strange experiences in church? Now, for someone who grew up in Haiti, one thing that I've always heard about churches is that, churches in Haiti, of course, some people believe that it is safer to sleep in a graveyard than to spend time in a church, to sleep in a church. I always wonder why. Churches